So Bihar is all set to get its new or the next chief minister. The counting of the votes is currently underway to determine if the veteran leader Nitish Kumar of the Janata Dal United will come back as the chief minister again, even though he's been in power for the last 20 plus years.
Of course, Mr. Sali, and the question that if he'll clinch an unprecedented fifth term as chief minister or will he pave the way for a new government is on everybody's mind. But we know the two-phase assembly election for the 243-seat house conducted on November 6th and 11th witnessed an impressive voter participation of 67.13%.
That is correct indeed. Now, the exit polls predicted largely a dominant performance for the NDA, but now the early leads and trends have started to come out, and these are some of the trends that are now doing the rounds. The NDA, the National Democratic Alliance, that is the BJP, JDU combined and their alliance partners, are reportedly ahead in about 54 of the seats. The Mahagathbandhan is reportedly ahead in about 35 of the seats, while the others seem to be leading in 7 of the seats. Now, these are numbers that will dramatically change in the course of the next few minutes, because this, remember, is all on basis of what you see as the postal ballots that have been counted. The counting of the actual votes in the EVMs has just gotten underway in the last 10 minutes. And we will witness some pretty remarkably different numbers. Now, these are the latest one. BJP Plus is ahead in 94, the RJD Plus in 55, the JSP is ahead in 4, and others in 2.
Right, Mr. Sali, and the exit polls, although they largely favour a dominant victory for the National Democratic Alliance, including JDU, while Rashtriya Janata Dal's Tejasvi Yadav, the face of the opposition India bloc, confidently predicts a landslide for the Mahagathbandhan. A massive electorate of 7.45 crore cast ballots to shape the destiny of 2,616 contenders, featuring high-profile names like Deputy Chief Minister Samrat Chaudhary and Vijay Kumar Sinha, JJD's Tej Pratap Yadav and Congress's State Chief Rajesh Kumar. Vote tallying kicks off at 8:30 a.m. local time across 46 counting stations in 38 districts, with early indications expected around 9 a.m. from just a few minutes from now.
So the NDA coalition, remember, fielded candidates from 5 parties, that is the JDU and the BJP, each contesting 101 seats, whereas the India Alliance has brought together the old combine of the Rashtriya Janata Dal and the Congress, the CPI, ML, Liberation and other left outfits and the VIP. All right, so there are some reactions that are coming in from the leaders as the counting of the votes is underway. Let's listen in to what is being said about what is, of course, expected to happen through the day today.
जीत होने वाली है, चलिए हम लोग जीत रहे हैं, बहुत शुभकामनाएं आप लोगों को। बदलाव होगा, बदलाव होगा, बदलाव होने जा रहा है, बदलाव होने जा रहा है। चलिए सरकार बना रहे हैं। चलिए
देखिए, जिस प्रकार से जनता ने खुलकर वोट किया है और पूरे माहौल में जनता के साथ संवाद में हम लोगों ने देखा कि जनता हर जगह खुद सामने से चुनाव में समर्थन व्यक्त कर रही है, तो हम सब आश्वस्त हैं कि इस बार का एनडीए की सीट की टैली 2010 के चुनाव के नजदीक नजर आएगी और एनडीए गठबंधन पूर्ण रूप में सरकार बनाने जा रहा है।
बिहार की उम्मीद और आशा के साथ बिहार बदलाव की ओर अग्रसर है। दोपहर बाद तक सारी चीजें स्पष्ट हो जाएंगी। बदलाव तेजस्वी जी के नेतृत्व में महागठबंधन की सरकार।
आज जो सूर्य का तेज है ना, वह विकास का तेज है। वह राजनीति में वंशवाद का नहीं रहेगा, भ्रष्टाचार का नहीं रहेगा, पारिवारिक विरासत का नहीं रहेगा। राजनीति में बिहार की जनता एनडीए के नेता क्लाइमेट लीडर पर विश्वास करेगी, माननीय नीतीश कुमार जी पर।
अपराधियों की तो टोली लेकर तेजस्वी यादव घिरे हुए हैं। रीतिलाल यादव क्या है, इसके प्रचार में लालू यादव जाते हैं। सोचने की बात है।
बिहार में बदलाव का एक आभास है, आने वाला तेजस्वी सरकार है। गया जिला राष्ट्रीय जनता दल के लिए गया जिला हमेशा शुभ रहा है। विपरीत से विपरीत परिस्थिति में जब कोई भी नहीं था, तभी गया जिला साथ था। और इस बात के लिए याद रखिएगा कि हम मगध हैं इस बार अवध से चार्ज हैं।
All right, so that is what some of the leaders there are saying about what is expected to happen in these elections. But remember, we have the early leads and trends that have come in, Diksha. And this is going to be a very, very interesting battle because from the early numbers that we're looking at, 102 for the BJP plus, 58 for the RJD plus, and 3 for the JJP and 2 for others. It does appear that the exit poll predictions may actually hold, but we still don't know because it is from 8:30 a.m. onwards that things can dramatically change.
Right.
The early postal ballots do not, in fact, give you the complete picture. It now remains to be seen as to which way the people of Bihar have voted.
Absolutely. And to get us more details, we're joined by our correspondent, Shivan from the newsroom. Shivan, we know that all eyes are on Nitish Kumar's future. Will he clinch an unprecedented fifth term as Chief Minister, or will he pave the way for new government? What do you think is going to happen?
He's done it several times in the past. This is, and 20 years to be in power. And a record fifth term is what he's looking at. But then there is always the flip side to it, Diksha, where a higher voter turnout can be looked at as a means for people to look for change. So does it go in the favor of the incumbent or does it go against the incumbent? Now, that is something we will need to wait and watch. And as of now, we're just about 45 minutes into counting. It's too early to draw a conclusion from the trends that are coming in. But just to go over the numbers, I'll just repeat it once again. What we're learning so far is that BJP, this is, of course, I'm talking about the NDA. The NDA is at 104 and the Grand Alliance is at 58. They're nearly at a 50% leap ahead of the Grand Alliance, the Mahagathbandhan. And the Jan Suraj is also standing at 3 as of now. These are early trends. It's just been 45 minutes. I think after 9 a.m., that's when we can expect some results to also start coming out when vote counting will be completed as a constituency-wise one by one. As of now, what we're getting is initial trends. This is not common everywhere. These are trends, as I mentioned, so they differ. Some are also pegging the NDA at somewhere close to about 80 and the Mahagathbandhan at about 55. So the leap may not be as much as, the same everywhere, but what is common as of now is that all trends are suggesting the NDA is ahead. What I've also gained is that there is jubilation in the NDA camp, but one has to look at it with a lot of caution, especially the political parties, because celebrating too early, we've seen enough parties being bitten bad by early celebrations.
Right, Shivan, and we know that the state has created history by recording a voter turnout of 67.13, which is the highest since 1951. And having said that, what, according to you, could this surge in turnout imply for Bihar?
Diksha, and early also, we've spoken with a number of experts. The women turnout, the number of women that came out to vote this time. And I have to quickly give you some numbers for that as well, that out of 3.51 crore registered women voters, 2.52 crore had cast their votes. And that basically means this is about a 71.6% voter turnout for the women among all the women that are there and eligible to vote in Bihar. This has been a major reason for the high voter turnout overall. Also, another factor has been the migrant workers coming back to Bihar for Chhath Puja, and that would have also raised some kind of, would have had a bearing on the overall voter turnout. Now, who they really voted for, it's only speculation as of now. We can only give trends, but if the exit polls are to go by and if the trends are to go by, it clearly seems that the NDA is in lead. And what I was also discussing with Saleh a little earlier, I think by 11, we'll pretty much know who's in the lead, because by 11, you kind of get an idea of who's going to eventually cross that 122 race mark.
I think that's very crucial. 122 is the majority mark. Now, Shivan, the fact that Bihar, even in comparison with India, has a much younger demographic. This is where it gets interesting. The average age of people in Bihar, believe it or not, is just 22 years old. That is substantially less than what it is for the national average, which is about 28. And there's a lot of speculation that the youth of Bihar may have broken from the past and may have voted very differently. People who say that they don't want to vote for the RJD because they remember what happened under Lalu Prasad Yadav, where they say that it was more sort of a jungle Raj that he had presided over. And it is Nitish Kumar, the Sushasan Babu, as he likes to call himself, who came about and brought that change. But someone, let's say, was born in 1995. That person is about 30 years old now. They're voting in these elections in Bihar. But they've not witnessed jungle Raj. Their memories are very different. The fact that Bihar remains one of the most backward states in India How do you think the youth has swung this time round?
Saleh, as far as the youth are concerned, what they haven't seen in the past, but let me compare it to what they are seeing right now, because there was a lot of allegations, I would say, with the opposition putting it of, it was on one hand you had Jungle Raj, and then the other hand you had the narrative of vote chori. So it totally depends on what they are going to be seeing. Also, what determines a lot for a young voter is how their elders have been voting. A lot of people, if they haven't really made up their minds yet, they would go by what perhaps their, they would see their elders voting as in the house. That is one bearing which also has. The other bearing is, of course, their own experiences. But the number of migration that we've seen, the out migration I'm talking about, clearly means that they would have looked for better opportunities elsewhere. Would they want those same opportunities when they come back home? Would they want better opportunities when they come back home? That again will determine which side they would want to go, in favor of the incumbent or against. So that is a question that continues to stay with us. But, we have to wait and watch. It's not even 9 a.m. right now. These are early trends. But yeah, there is jubilation, but has to be taken with a little bit of caution, regardless of which camp. But, Tejasvi Yadav, and the reaction which just played for all our viewers a little earlier, he's still saying Badlav hoga. And for anyone internationally watching us, Badlav means there is going to be a change. That means a new government is going to come here after, at least not Nitish Kumar, if nobody else. That's what Tejasvi Yadav is suggesting.
We'll of course see in the next 3-4 hours whether there will indeed be Badlav, or is it going to be the return?
It might just happen a little
earlier.
earlier. It might just happen a little earlier.
We'll get to know. I mean, we'll get to know, because we should never jump the gun, never celebrate early. That, of course, is what every political party must do. Meanwhile, there's some pretty interesting images that are coming in from Patna in Bihar, where horse-mounted policemen, we're given to understand, are out on the streets. These are some pretty interesting images there, Diksha. Because remember, this is a pretty tense moment. All political parties are on the edge, and although on the face of it, they're projecting confidence, in the back of their minds, they know that anything can happen. In 2020, there were parties that were out celebrating early. They had to eat a cropper, and then they came back with the results that they did. We can, of course, expect, some of these leads and trends to solidify by about 12 p.m., by 1 p.m. We'll have to, of course, wait and watch, because this is still the very early rounds of the counting of the votes that is currently underway. And women's participation is something that's been spoken about a lot in the state of Bihar as well. Because what is interesting is that Nitish Kumar, in many ways, has tailored his policies so as to attract the maximum vote from the women of Bihar, who seem to be, again, in many ways following the trend, but then again outdoing the trend in the rest of the nation, where women are stepping out in overwhelming numbers. The percentage difference was about 9% more of the women electorate coming out and voting in this election this time round. But who are they voting for is something that we'll have to wait and watch.
Absolutely. You're right, Saleh. Women's participation has, in fact, defined the election to a certain extent. The turnout among women was 71.6%. Whereas for men, it was 62.8%. Now, it's interesting to note what drove this change. There could be multiple factors at play here: the SIR, the monetary incentives, and perhaps also the convergence of these several factors coming together to inspire this kind of a turnout.
That of course remains to be seen. The fact that the men were a little bit more laid back and decided to stay back at homes, but nearly 71% of the women, in fact, stepped out to the voting stations to decide to cast their vote. That's in many ways unprecedented. Also, what is fascinating is the manner in which the number of women in absolute demographics who stepped out to vote has outnumbered the number of men who voted in the state of Bihar. Even though the electorate on the voter roll, the number of men outnumbers that of the women. These are some of the images that are coming in from Patna, where the political leaders are out offering their prayers to gods. That's what they would do, pray on the day of the counting of the votes, because their election results will, of course, depend on it. At this moment, these are the early leads and trends that are now doing the rounds. The BJP Plus is leading in 117 seats. The RJD Plus is ahead in 82 seats. The JJP is ahead in about 3 seats, while others are getting about 3 seats in their kitty. These, remember, are very early leads and trends. Things can dramatically change over the course of the next few hours. Now, which way? There are several constituencies here, and the problem about predicting elections in Bihar is that Bihar is an outlier amongst the outliers. That's how things go in Bihar. The Bharatiya Janata Party on its own has never formed a government in the Hindi-speaking belt of northern India, which a lot of people don't appreciate. That even in the Hindi-speaking belt, the Bharatiya Janata Party needs an alliance partner to form a government here. And Tejasvi Yadav, who's been, in the wings for quite some time, who's of course been knocking on the gates of power for quite some time, has he done enough this time round to show to the people of Bihar that he's got it in him, that they can elect him as their next chief minister? We'll of course need to wait and watch for that. And the Jan Swaraj party of Prashant Kishore, how much of a splash is that party now going to create in these elections? These are also the key questions for which we will get the answers in the next few hours. These are tense moments. Many of these leaders are smiling. They're trying to put on a brave face. But in the back of their minds, they know what is, of course, a riding for them. At this moment, 121 for the BJP plus, 78 for the RJD plus, the JSP is 3, and the others have about 3 seats where they are ahead in these elections. And also at this moment, there are specific seats where the leads are coming in from. Samrat Chaudhary, he is said to be leading from Tarapur. Tejasvi Yadav is leading from Raghopur. Kesri Lal Yadav is leading from Chhapra. And Anand Singh is leading from Mokama. These are some of the leads that are coming in, where some of these key leaders, Samrat Chaudhary, one of the key figures of the BJP in the NDA alliance in Bihar.